The city of Fresno has worked extremely hard for many years to help those who are homeless. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars creating housing. We've converted what were once run down, crime-infested shelters and apartments for those who want and need housing. We've provided basic necessities, support services, medical care, and other essential services to people who wanted them and wanted to get off the streets. But in spite of all these efforts, various lower courts hampered through their rulings our abilities to deal more effectively with this problem, particularly those who are homeless, and particularly those who have no interest in getting help. But all that changed with the Supreme Court ruling on June 28th that cities can now fine or arrest people who are sleeping or camping in public areas, which allows cities to clear or ban homeless encampments more easily. The Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, most importantly said fining and arresting people who are homeless or camping out did not violate their constitutional rights. After this ruling on June 28th, Council members Arias Maxwell and I, along with Mayor Dyer and his administration, the city attorney, police chief Mindy Casto, and members of the HEART team, began meeting and looking at our ordinance related to the homeless. Our goal was to create an ordinance in dealing with the homeless, particularly those who are not interested in help, but rather use public places to continue to use drugs, harass business owners, create unsafe and hazardous conditions in our city, violate the rights of others, steal shopping carts, and are on median islands creating unsafe traffic conditions. The ordinance that we approved 2 weeks ago and adopted 2 weeks ago in a special meeting of the council met that goal and specifically dealt with public spaces. But we still have continued to receive numerous and ongoing complaints from members of our business community that engage in commerce with the public and do so on their private property. These complaints center around homeless folks who harass them, harass their customers, use their property or facilities on the property without permission, do drugs on the property, or create unsafe and hazardous conditions on the property. This ordinance that I co-sponsored with my two colleagues, Mike Carbasi and Tyler Maxwell, will allow the private property owner to ask people creating these kinds of problems to leave the property and not return. If they don't, they will be subject to a criminal act of trespassing, potentially be charged with a misdemeanor, be subject to arrest, possible incarceration up to a year in jail, and a fine of up to $1,000. I want to be clear. We want to help those who are homeless and truly want help and want to change their lifestyle and their lives. There's plenty of help available, and the city will do everything they can to assist those people, just like we've been doing for years. But there's a subculture of the homeless who want that toxic lifestyle regardless of the help offered to them, who want to continue to use drugs and alcohol, who create unsafe and unhealthy, sometimes dangerous conditions for other law-abiding citizens, our constituents, who feel that they can hang out on streets, sidewalks, walking trails, in parks, or wherever else they choose, and even private property. Many of these folks are the same people who go to Fresno County every Saturday and get more taxpayer-funded needles and crack pipes to continue their drug usage, a program which must come to an end. Every person is accountable for the choices they make in life, every one of us. Those who choose to engage in drugs, criminal behavior, live on the streets, harass business owners, create unsafe and unhealthy conditions in our community must be held accountable. And make no mistake about it, it is a choice to reject help and live on the streets. It is our job and our responsibility as elected officials of the city of Fresno to ensure our community is healthy, vibrant, and safe. It's also our job to ensure that the rights of private property owners who do business with the public are respected and protected. This ordinance will assist us in meeting those responsibilities. And now I'd like to invite Councilmember Carbasi.
I'm Mike Carbasi. I'm honored to represent Northwest Fresno and be the Vice President of the City Council this year. I'm a small business owner, and I can tell you that homelessness is not a crime. I want to be very clear. Being homeless is not a crime, but there are certain behaviors that are committed by the unhoused that do constitute burdens for small business owners. When you own a small business, people assume, oh, you must have a Ferrari and life must be made for you. And I can assure you it's not that way. Small business owners are people like you and I. And sometimes they struggle. Sometimes, in my family, we did go month to month because you have to struggle to be able to make ends meet. And there are good months and bad months. And right now, our small businesses like you or I at home are dealing with record inflation. They're dealing with unprecedented increases in insurance rates. And on top of that, for years, small businesses in this community and communities across California have had to deal with folks that just aren't well, that feel it's okay for them to come into their businesses, harass customers, and more importantly, harass their employees, and act in ways and commit behaviors that have now caused us to go to our local Rite Aid or CVS and see basic items locked up. And we can't afford to allow Fresno to turn into San Francisco. We need to turn things around. I'm really excited to join together with my colleagues, Councilmember Maxwell and Councilmember Bettefeld, to take one step to help small businesses and to help workers be able to take a little bit more control about what happens in their spaces, because our ability to provide for our constituents, from fixing potholes to hiring employees that provide services, it's all based on our ability to bring in revenue, and that comes from business and commerce. And if people don't feel comfortable going to local businesses to shop, and they're going to go elsewhere and spend their money in other cities, that's less money for us to provide public safety, less money for us to provide park maintenance and road maintenance and the things that matter to our residents. So this is not a solution for homelessness, but this, along with recent measures we've taken and the Supreme Court ruling, are steps we can take to hopefully push the unhoused to places they need to go to get treatment they really need and deserve. But it's not so easy to do that. So we need to do our part to pass resolutions and ordinances to nudge them in that direction, and at the same time help small business, which is the backbone of our local economy and our economy throughout this country. And now we have Councilmember Maxwell.
Look, Fresno is undoubtedly one of the best cities in California to raise a family. We have become one of the most affordable places to become a new homeowner. We have one of the best police forces in the state that have done a phenomenal job at keeping our community safe. And our educational prospects are unmatched, with thousands of Fresno students every single year being the first in their families to graduate from college, thanks to our partners in higher education. We are leaders in homeownership, we are leaders in public safety, we are leaders in higher education. What Fresno needs now is to become a leader for our business community. Everybody knows our local tax base is not a large one. In fact, it's pretty modest for a city of our size. We rely on those taxes to hire more police officers and firefighters, subsidize more affordable housing, and to create programs that help more students graduate college. Sales tax make up nearly 30% of our city's tax base. Business license taxes make up 5%, and franchise fees make up 4%. That's nearly 40% of our city's entire tax base. All of this to say that in order for a city like Fresno to do well, for us to continue being leaders, for us to continue being the preferred home for California families, we desperately need our community, our business community, to succeed. And unfortunately, it has become more and more difficult for our businesses to achieve that success for a number of reasons. And I can't even begin to tell you the number of phone calls my office gets alone from business owners who are desperately struggling to stay open but are having a hard time because of difficult individuals, not patrons, but people loitering, starting fights, and sleeping in and around their businesses. Let me give you just a few examples of what I'm talking about. Right now, if you're a business owner, let's say someplace like an outdoor strip mall that we're all familiar with across the city of Fresno, and there's someone sleeping in front of your business or acting strange, perhaps under the influence of something, or yelling at people, etc., you cannot call the police to have that individual removed if they refuse to leave. As you can imagine, when families feel like visiting a business is a health or safety hazard, they're probably less likely to visit that business, and over time will lead to the business's demise, and not because of anything that business did or did not do. Another example, perhaps you've seen before, you're at your favorite coffee shop and there's several people sleeping inside across the span of multiple hours. The business owners cannot call the police for help if those individuals refuse to leave. And I can't imagine that's good for business. One last example, if you run an indoor or an outdoor mall and there are individuals who frequent your establishment, never with the intent of buying anything, but with the intent of looking to get into fights, you could ask them to leave. But if they refuse, you cannot call the police, and you must wait for the inevitable to happen. Being a business owner in today's world is one of the most difficult things to do. Many local businesses barely make enough just to keep the lights on. Having a bad reputation or having your patrons be afraid of visiting you is a death sentence for these businesses. This common sense ordinance will change that. It will be a tool to help small businesses, local businesses, and people like my friend Joey Elliott, the senior property manager of Fashion Fair, who works with his team every single day to ensure Fashion Fair remains one of the safest places in Fresno for a family to go shopping. This policy will give businesses the discretion they desperately need to keep their businesses safe, healthy, and family friendly. This is private property we're talking about. These are your small businesses that you've invested thousands of dollars into. These are our tax dollars. You deserve help. You deserve common sense solutions, and you deserve to succeed. With the passage of this policy at this Thursday's council meeting, we will work to ensure that you get the help you desperately deserve. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, I'm Monty Torres with Fox 26 News on YouTube. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel, where we have loads of great content for you to choose from. And while you're here, why not click on the subscribe button right here? That way you can stay in touch with all the latest breaking news, everything news related within the Central Valley. And thank you for watching.